ಸಂಸಾರದಾವ ನಲಲಿರಲೋಕ ತ್ರಾಣಾಯ ಕಾರುಣ್ಯ ಘನಾಘನತ್ವಂ ಪ್ರಾಪ್ತಸ್ಯ ಕಲ್ಯಾಣ ಗುಣಾರ್ಣವಸ್ಯ ವಂದೇ ಗುರೋ ಶ್ರೀ ಚರಣಾರವಿಂದಂ ವಂದೇ ಗುರೋ ಶ್ರೀ ಚರಣಾರವಿಂದಂ. The spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy. Just as a cloud pours water on a forest fire to extinguish it, so the spiritual master delivers the materially afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master, Param Pujya Guruji, who is an ocean of auspicious qualities. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Vadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Vyasam Vasishtha Naptaram Shakte Pautramakalmasham Parasharatmajam Vande Sukatatam Taponidhim Vyasaya Vishnurupaya Vyasarupaya Vishnave Namo Vai Brahmanidhaye Vasishthaya Namo Namaha Avikaraya Shuddhaya Nityaya Paramatmane Sadaikaruparupaya Vishnave Sarvajishnave Yasya Smarana Matrena Janma Samsara Bandhanat Vimuchyate Namastasmai Vishnave Prabhavishnave Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gaganasadrisham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmikantam Kamalanayanam Yogi Hriddhyanagamyam Vande Vishnum Bhavabhayaharam Sarvalokaikanaatham Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Shri Krishna Paramatmane Namaha. Rama Ramaya Shanta Ramaya Sadguru Ramaya Shanta Ramaya Daya Guru Ramaya Shanta Ramaya Jaya Guru Ramaya Shanta Ramaya Rama Ram. Bolo Sadgurunath Maharaj ki jai. बोलो राधा रानी अरुणा माई की जय. चरण स्पर्श to you, Param Pujya Guruji. Charan sparsh to all Devis and Mahatmas. Jai Shri Krishna Guruji.
Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna. Yeah. We can start from the 41 we completed, 42, or if you want to go back to 3 slokas back also, you can. Whatever.
Yes, Guruji. I can start from 39 if that's okay.
Yeah.
So we are on discourse 84. We start on verse 39. O Vasudeva, the Brahmana, the Kshatriya, this is Devarshi Narada who's speaking. And then the sages are speaking and they're saying O Vasudeva, the Brahmana, the Kshatriya and the Vaishya are born with the debts to gods, the rishis and the mains. He who renounces the home without discharging these debts through the performance of sacrifices, study of scriptures, and by begetting a son respectively, surely fails. Verse 40, O wise Vasudeva, you are, as a matter of fact, free from your debts to the rishis and the mains now. Pay off your debt to the gods too, through the performance of sacrifices, and thus freed from all obligations, you may quit the home. Verse 41, Vasudeva, You have surely worshipped Sri Hari, the Lord of the universe, with supreme devotion. That is why he has accepted the role of a son to you.
Yeah, what a great thing. Huh? He must have done so much, Vasudeva.
Yes.
I see. Yeah. In 37, he says, for the twice born householder, the most propitious course is to perform with the reverence the worship of the Supreme Person, expending liberal sums of money earned by fair means. The money should have been earned by fair means and it should be given liberally. See, that is what all our satsangis are doing now. They, they are giving liberally and at the same time they have earned it all uh, in the fair means. No cheating, nothing. Fair means everything has been earned and also giving very liberally also. This is the thing. This is how it need to be done by everyone. Over to you, Janki ji.
Yes, Guruji. Verse 42. Sri Shuka went on, Parikshit, hearing the aforesaid words of the rishis, the high minded Vasudeva sought their favor by saluting them with his head bent low and appointed them to officiate as priests at his sacrificial performance. 43. Duly appointed as priests, O king, the rishis helped the pious Vasudeva in performing a number of sacrifices on the largest scale in that holy place. 44. On Vasudeva being initiated for the sacrifices, the Yadus and other kings took their bath, put on their best attire and ornaments, and adorned themselves with garlands of lotuses. 45. The consorts of Vasudeva too adorned themselves with gold necklaces and besmeared their bodies with sandal paste, and clad in their best attire, joyously entered the sacrificial hall with offerings in their hands. 46. Clay tom-toms, tabors, conches, drums, kettle drums, and other musical instruments were sounded at the time. Dancers, both male and female, danced. Bards and panegyrists uttered praises. Gandharva women with their husbands sang beautiful songs. Verse 47. Vasudeva applied collyrium to his eyes and anointed his body with butter. The priests then consecrated him along with his 18 wives by sprinkling water on them, just as in the ancient times the moon and the stars were consecrated. Verse 48. Initiated for the sacrifice and clad in deerskin, Vasudeva looked most charming with his wives, who were all dressed in beautiful saris and adorned with bracelets, necklaces, anklets, and earrings. 49. Clad in silk and adorned with jewels, the priests and supervisors of the sacrifice shone like the priests at the sacrifice performed by Indra, the slayer of Vritra. Verse 50. Shri Krishna and Balarama, the rulers of all jivas, shone brightly on that occasion with their relations, consorts, and sons who were their part manifestations.
Yeah.
Verse 51. At the end of each sacrifice Vasudeva performed in accordance with the scriptural ordinance, the Agnihotra and other sacrifices, as well as those falling under the category of Prakrita and Vaikrita sacrifices, and and thereby worshipped and propitiated Vishnu, the Lord of all substances, rituals, and the mantras with which they are performed. 52. Then, in due time, he adorned the priests as well with clothes and ornaments, and gave them sacrificial fees, and also gifted them duly adorned cow and girls, as well as lands and abundant wealth as laid down in the scriptures. 53. After going through the ritual of Patni Samyaja, which is a part of the sacrifice, and the rites connected with the concluding bath, those great sages, who had officiated as priests of the sacrifice, followed Vasudeva to the tank named after Parashurama and performed their ablutions there. After taking their bath, Vasudeva and his wives gave away all their ornaments and clothes to the bards, and adorning themselves well with new ornaments and dress, entertained all classes of men and animals down to the dog. Verse 55. He honored with extensive presents all his relations, along with their wives and son, as well as the princes of Vidarbha, Kosala, Kuru, Kashi, Kekaya, and Srinjaya, the supervisors of the sacrifice, the priests, hosts of gods, men, spirits, mains, and the celestial bards. They all took leave of Sri Krishna, the abode of Sri, and left for their homes praising the sacrifice. 57 to 58. Parikshit, King Dhritarashtra, Vidura, Yudhishthira, Bhima and Arjuna, Bhishma, Drona, Kunti, Nakula, Sahadeva, Devarshi Narada, Bhagwan Vyasa, and other friends and relations and kinsmen felt the agony of separation when leaving their friends, the Yadus. With their hearts moistened through affection, they embraced the Yadus and departed for their homes with great difficulty. The other people also left with them. 59. Parikshit, honored with extensive presents by Sri Krishna, Balarama, Ugrasena, and others, Nanda, along with the other Gopas, out of love for them, stayed there for some time more. Verse number 60. O dear king, having thus easily realized his great ambition like one who crosses an ocean without much effort, Vasudeva felt greatly delighted at heart. In the midst of his friends and relations, he took Nanda by the hand and addressed him thus. Verse number 61. Vasudeva said, Brother Nanda, God has forged for men a bond which is known by the name of affection. I think the greatest of warriors and yogis find it difficult to undo it. Highly virtuous as you are, the friendship you have shown to us, ungrateful souls, is unparalleled and cannot be repaid. And yet we know it will never cease, it will continue forever. Verse 63. O brother, formerly we could not do any good turn to you precisely because we were helpless. And now we are blinded by intoxication of wealth and power and do not look at you even though you stand before us. O virtuous brother, let not royal fortune fall to the lot of one who seeks blessedness. Blinded by it, man fails to recognize even his own kinsmen and relations.
Yeah. We try to show off all the time how rich we are, how wealthy we are, how polished we are, how very cultured we are. What is cultured? Boorish, not cultured, boorish. We think that wealth, any time when you have wealth, you should be ashamed of it actually. Because that wealth can never have, in the modern days, it is all tricks and every type of this one we use to have wealth. Maybe exceptions may be there, maybe exceptions there, huge wealth and everything. We don't know. But as a rule, as a rule, and then we show off with, we go and our poor or ordinary, ordinarily uh, having wealth, not nothing, poor, not so-called poor completely. But we go there and we then try to show them off that I think of that. Actually, you should be, whatever you have worn and other things, they should be given to them. The gold and the diamonds and whatever you are wearing, give it to the poor relatives of them. But we won't give. We want to die with that. It's a, it's a joke. We don't realize at all that we are going to die. See? Leaving everything, leaving everything is, is the art. See? I saw one mother doing that long, long ago. That during the wedding time itself, she has taken out and given it to the bride, whatever she had, whatever gold and other things she had. Very less she had. And then she parted it immediately. And the younger daughter was crying that the mother doesn't have anything. Her mother had sacrificed everything for the sake of the older daughter. Yeah, this is the thing. This sacrificing, and they also started sacrificing those things to so many people. You see, not storing, not keeping. See, not storing or keeping. This is the thing. It is very difficult for people to do this sort of things. Someone comes to visit us and she's herself is she doesn't have anything, but she takes all of the gold what she had on herself. She had brought it like for that giving only, and she gives it all to these children. So it's a sight to see how poor the so-called poor people who do not have anything, whatever they have, they also part with that. So that shows the greatness of the person. So these both people, this this side and the other side also, generous to the core. So naturally, such people have gone out, you know, out of this gold and diamonds and all these things. There's nothing. These are all not worth possessing. See, not worth possessing. See, I dare people to close your, what you call, the in the bank you have got those lock keeping jewels and other thing like that. Close it down, give it away, see whether you can. Very difficult. And mind you, that once we are not there, the other persons will throw it actually. They don't bother about it. See, they don't bother about it. Shirts and then dresses and other things like that, they won't even touch. Nobody touches this that person who has died, even though when his mother, father, brother, whoever it is, once the death is there, they will not touch those dresses. They feel it is not Shubha, Ashubh. See, this is the thing. So when you allow yourself, give it away, everything. See, you don't become naked by giving those things. You have got plenty. So keep simple all. This is action. What I'm telling you is action. You see, and that action shows. Krishna can say and give it away, everything. See, just over to you, Janaki.
Yes, Guruji. Verse number 65. Shri Shuka continued. Parikshit, Vasudeva's heart melted with love as he said all this. Tears rushed to his eyes as he remembered the love and friendship which Nanda bore to him, and he began to weep. 66. Anxious to please his friend and out of affection for Sri Krishna and Balarama, Nanda put off his departure from day to day and stayed there for 3 months, receiving the best attentions of the Yadus. 67. They gratified him and his brother Gopas and other residents of Raja who had accompanied him with enjoyments of various kinds, as well as with valuable ornaments, silk garments, and other invaluable presents. Verse number 68. Vasudeva, Ugrasena, Sri Krishna, Balarama, Uddhava, and others severally presented him with gifts. Taking all these and permitted by the Yadus, Nanda left for his home. 69. Parikshit, Nanda, as well as the other Gopas and Gopis, had transferred their heart to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, and they were unable to withdraw it from him. So they departed from for Mathura, leaving their heart behind.
What a nice way. Huh? What a nice way. It's a lesson for us. Lesson for us. Yeah. Not to find fault with the great people. Not to find fault with them. See? But totally loving them. Anybody who has done anything to you, see, loving them and doing what we can. Over to you, gentlemen.
Yes, Guruji. Verse 70. Parikshit. When all the friends had thus returned to their respective places, the Yadus, who looked on Sri Krishna as their deity and who now saw the monsoon approaching, returned to Dwarka. 71. Reaching there, they gave to the people an account of the grand festival in the form of a sacrificial performance celebrated by Vasudeva, the adored of the gods. Their meeting with friends and relations, and all that had happened in the course of the pilgrimage. Thus ends the 84th discourse, entitled An Account of Sri Krishna's Pilgrimage, in the latter half of Book 10 of the great and glorious Bhagavata Purana, otherwise known as the Paramahamsa Samhita. Start the
Yeah.
next one, Guruji.
Yeah. Yeah.
Discourse
Go ahead.
number. Yes, Guruji.
Yeah.
Discourse number 85. The Lord brings back from the abode of death his 6 elder brothers throttled by Kamsa. Sri Shuka began again. Parikshit, on their return from Kurukshetra one morning, Sri Krishna and Balarama went to their parents to offer their salutations to them. Vasudeva received his sons most affectionately, and after they had bowed to his feet, spoke to them as follows. Verse number 2. Parikshit, Vasudeva had heard about the glory of his sons from the lips of the sages and had himself witnessed their wonderful exploits. He was thus convinced that they were no ordinary beings but divine personages. Addressing them with great affection, he said, verse number 3, O Krishna, the embodiment of truth, knowledge, and bliss, O Sankarshana, the Lord of the greatest yogis, you both are eternal. I know you are the rulers even of Prakriti and Purusha, matter and spirit, the two direct causes of this universe. You are directly the substratum and both the instrumental and material cause of the universe. Nay, you are its sole lords, and it has been brought into being for your sport. Whenever and in whatever form it exists, and whatever you react upon is nothing but you. You are the enjoyable in the form of Prakriti and the enjoyer in the form of Purusha, and also the ruler beyond them both. Lord, You are beyond the senses and beyond birth, existence, and other modifications, having created this diversified universe in yourself. You have yourself entered it as its inner controller, appearing as prana, active force, and as jiva, cognitive force. It is you who sustain and nourish it. Verse number 6. The potency possessed by the prana and other forces responsible for the creation of the universe is in fact your potency. For unlike you, they are material and not spiritual in essence and are also dependent on you. The activity which they exhibit is only apparent. The motive power behind them is yours. Verse 7. O Lord, the luster of the moon, the glow of fire, the effulgence of the sun, the twinkling of stars and the flash of lightning, the firmness of mountains, the odor and sustaining power of the earth, all these are, in fact, you. Verse number 8. O Lord, the slaking, life giving, and purifying property of water are you. You are water itself as well as its taste. The vigor of the senses, mental energy, and bodily strength, the activity of the body and its locomotion, all these, though attributed to the wind, really proceed from you. The cardinal points and the space denoted by them are you. Ether and its principal sound, speech in its subtlest form, known by the name of Para, and its other forms, Pashyanti, Madhyama, as well as Vaikhari, articulate speech, consisting of letter sounds and words denoting several objects, are nothing but you. Verse 10. The power to reveal objects inhering in the senses, the deities presiding over them, and the power by which they do so are indeed you. The determining faculty of the intellect and the power of duly connecting various experiences inhering in the jiva are you. Verse 11. In the elements you inhere as their cause, the tamasa aspect of ahankara, ego. In the senses you exist as their cause, the taijasa, rajasa aspect of ahankara. In the deities presiding over senses as well as in the mind, you exist as their cause, the vaikarika, satvika aspect of ahankara, and you are maya, the cause of the repeated birth of jivas bound to karma. Verse number 12. Just as in the various modifications of a substance, the original substance is observed to be the abiding factor, so you are the imperishable truth behind all these perishable objects. Verse 13. O Lord, the three modes of Prakriti, that is Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, and what are known as their modifications, the Mahat Tattva, etc., are in fact assumed in you, the transcendent Parabrahman, through your wonderful yogic power. Therefore, these modifications, birth, existence, growth, etc., do not exist in you. When they are projected on you, then only they appear in you, who appear as permeating them. At other times, however, when they cease to be projected, example during deep sleep, you remain in your absolute state, unconnected with these modifications. Verse number 15. This universe is but a continuous flow of the three gunas. They who fail to perceive the subtle presence of it, of in it of your absolute state as the all soul get entangled in the meshes of karma due to the identification with their body and have to undergo repeated births and deaths in this world. Verse 16. O Lord, providentially I have attained in this land of Bharatavarsha the rare gift of a human body endowed with vigorous senses and organs, and yet under the influence of your Maya enchanting power, my lifetime has been frittered away in utter neglect of the main purpose of my existence. O Lord, you have bound the whole of this universe with ties of affection, having their roots in self identification with the body and the feeling of neum with regard to those connected with the body. I know you are no other than the lords of Prakriti as well as all individual souls, and not my sons. You have come down for the destruction of Kshatriyas who have become a burden unto the earth. You yourself spoke like that in unambiguous terms to me at the time of your descent. Verse 19. Therefore, O befriender of the afflicted, I have sought for protection this day your lotus feet, which alone dispel the fear of transmigration haunting those who have taken shelter with them. I am fed up with this much of craving for sense enjoyments. It was under the influence of this that I have so long identified myself with this mortal body and looked on you, the Supreme, as my child. Verse 20. O Lord, in the lying in chamber, you said that, though unborn, you had, as a matter of fact, been manifesting yourself through us in different pairs each time for defending your own laws. Like the sky, you assume diverse forms and cast them off, even though you are one and infinite. Who can know the secret of your wonderful potency, Yogamaya? All people extensively sing your glories.
Yes.
Verse number 21. Sri Shuka resumed, hearing these words of his father Vasudeva, Lord Sri Krishna, the crown jewel of the Yadus, began to smile. Bowing in all humility to his father, he replied in sweet words as follows. The glorious Lord said, Father, we are your sons. You have in these words expounded the highest philosophical truths to us. We accept as true whatever you have said. Verse 23. Yourself, my venerable father, Sri Balrama, myself, the citizens of Dwaraka, and all others, including the mobile and immobile creation, should be regarded as Parabrahman, O jewel among the Yadus. Verse 24. O Father, the self is really one, self effulgent, eternal, identical with the body, etc., and unqualified. Yet it projects the gunas out of itself. And in the bodies of the various creatures evolved out of these gunas, it appears as diversified, perceptible, transient, distinct from the body, etc., and qualified. Verse 25. Just as each of the five elements, ether, air, fire, water, and earth, though one in essence appears differently in its different products, and can be distinguished as manifest or unmanifest, meager or abundant, and so on, so the self too appears as though as many through its various adjuncts.
Very beautifully put. And these things to be again and again read to understand and to to keep it in mind. This advice and this talk by Lord Krishna, first Deva is, I mean, the entire chapter probably is one which need to be read again and again, and especially focusing on these things, so that at least at least should bring some vairagya in us, you know, some vairagya in us, all that gold and you store the and your investments and your this one and that one. Hare Bhagavan, nothing will come. When the time is up, nothing will come. Decide when the time you want it to be up, and that time will be there. You want to live 120 years? Yeah, you can live. But what you are going to do for 120 years, that you have to decide. If you are doing these things and if you are doing the right things, then that is fine. Otherwise, just being with the children and doing grandchildren and great grandchildren, they'll be wondering why this old man or old woman is hanging around all the time.
Verse number 26, Sri Shuka continued, Parikshit, hearing these words of the Almighty Lord Vasudeva, was rid of his sense of diversity, and delighted at heart, became silent and drove away all thoughts from his mind. Devaki, who represented all the deities in her person and was also present there when this conversation was going on, was greatly astonished to hear that her sons had brought back the diseased son of their preceptor from the abode of Yama. Verse 28, recollecting her sons who had been done to death by Kamsa, she felt agitated in mind and addressing Sri Krishna and Balrama with tears in her eyes, piteously spoke thus. Devaki said, O Balarama, the delighter of hearts, your nature is beyond the ken of mind and speech, O Krishna. You are the supreme Lord, even of great masters of yoga. Verse number 29, Devaki said, O Balrama, the delighter of hearts, your nature is beyond the ken of mind and speech, O Krishna. You are the supreme Lord, even of the great masters of yoga. I know you to be the rulers of even Prajapatis, the progenitors of all creation, and manifestations of the most ancient being, Sri Narayana himself. Verse number 30. They say, you have descended on earth through me this time for the destruction of kings who, having lost through flux of time their virtues and excellences, are transgressing the injunctions of the scriptures and have therefore become a burden to the earth. Verse number 31. O soul of the universe, it is well known that from your part manifestation in the form of the spirit proceeds Maya, and from Maya the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, and from a particle of these gunas proceed the creation, growth, and dissolution of the universe. Today, I resort to you for protection. Verse 32, I have heard that being urged by your preceptor Sandipani and guided by providence, you brought back his son who had died long before from the abode of death and thereby discharged your debt to the preceptor. Verse 33, the lords, even of masters of yoga as you are, I desire that you should similarly grant my desire also, and bring my sons who had been done to death by Kamsa, so that I may see them and bring satisfaction to my eyes. Verse 34, Sri Shuka went on, thus directed by their mother, O scion of Bharata. Both Sri Krishna and Balarama, with the help of their Yoga Maya, divine power, entered the subterranean region of Sutala. 35. When Bali, the king of demons, saw the sole and adorable object of the universe as well as of his own, manifested in the dual form of Sri Krishna and Balarama, enter Sutala, he sprang at once from his seat and, with a heart overflowing with joy at their sight, greeted them along with his family. Verse 36. Full of delight, he offered them excellent seats, and when both these divine personages were seated on them, so the tradition goes, washed their feet and sprinkled on his head as well as on all the members of his family that water which purifies the whole universe from Brahma downwards.
Yeah, look at that. That's something which we have to do all the time. That the Lord is there everywhere, and think that He is there in your teachers when you go to visit the schools for uh, conducting program talks and other things like that. Right in front of all those students, you have to wash the feet of the teacher. Makes it as compulsory procedure. And then you are bringing back that culture. And that culture is one of not of cheating. Culture is in living in you know uh, living as if you are living with God. You know, godly thoughts. It's not that this God and that God and fighting and this religion and that religion. It's all same. Everything is same. There is only one God, and He has taken many forms and everything like that. All those things we did not discuss or talk about it, but understand. And reverence to them is reverence to the Lord. Over to you, Jennifer.
Okay. Verse 37. Then Bali duly worshipped them by offering them valuable clothes, ornaments, sandal paste, betel leaves, lights, dishes sweet as nectar, and other sumptuous articles, and surrendering his all, including his family, wealth, and even his self to them. Verse 38. With a heart saturated with love, he bore the Lord's lotus feet again and again on his bosom and on his head. So the tradition goes. His eyes bedimmed with tears of joy, and his hair standing on their ends, and in a voice choked with emotion, he prayed to the Lord as follows, O protector of men. Verse number 39. Bali said, O Rama, you are infinite. You are so great that manifestations like Shesha are all included in you. O Krishna, embodiment of truth, knowledge, and bliss, you are the creator of the universe. The path of knowledge and path of devotion have both been originated by you. You are the absolute, the supreme spirit. Verse 40. Surely your sight cannot be easily obtained by ordinary beings through their own effort, and yet through your grace it is so easy to gain. For you have today of your own accord vouchsafed that to us, whose temperament is predominantly Rajasika and Tamasika.
Yeah.
Verse 41 to 42. O Lord, we and other beings similar to us, Daityas, Danavas, Gandharvas, Siddhas, Vidyadharas, Charanas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, Pishachas, Bhutas, and the leaders of the Pramathas, instead of adoring you through devotion, constantly bear deep seated grudge to you, whose form is the very embodiment of the Vedas, a manifestation of the purest form of Sattva. Verse 43. That is why some of us, through inveterate hatred, and others through devotion with some interested motive, have been so closely united with you as has not been possible even for gods possessed of a sattvika nature. Verse 44. O Lord of Masters of Yoga, even great yogis often fail to comprehend the true nature and mode of operation of your Yoga Maya. How then can we be expected to know it? 45. Therefore, O Lord, be pleased to grant that my mind may obtain a firm hold on your lotus feet, which are sought after even by those who are free from all desires, so that by resorting to them I may be able to get out of this dark well of a householder's life, and under the shelter of those feet, which are the sole refuge of the world, may attain peace and tranquility and move in the world without any company. And if I have to associate at all with anybody, let it be with those saints who are friends of all.
See, the 44 sloka is interesting, previous sloka, where it
Yes.
says, O Lord of masters of yoga, even great yogis often fail to comprehend the true nature and mode of operation of your yoga maya. How then can we be expected to know it? See, how then we see the gods themselves, those who are like gods themselves, they are saying we cannot understand you. And we imagine that I know everything because I have read all the scriptures. See? The moment you say you know, you have not known. The moment you say I know, then you have not known. Yes. Both are not applicable. I and no, both are not applicable at all. See? This is the thing. The 44 sloka should be marked. They're putting it very clearly that there is no way you can. The moment you think that you know, you are not known. Okay. So this is the thing. Yeah, over to you. Ranjit.
Verse number, Guruji, should I read that again? 44, 45.
Yeah, read that.
Yeah. 44. O Lord of Masters of Yoga, even great yogis often fail to comprehend the true nature and mode of operation of your Yoga Maya. How then can we be expected to know it? 45. Therefore, O Lord, be pleased to grant that my mind may obtain a firm hold on your lotus feet, which are sought after even by those who are free from all desires, so that by resorting to them, I may be able to get out of this dark well of a householder's life, and under the shelter of those feet, which are the sole refuge of the world, may attain peace and tranquility, and move in the world without any company. And if I have to associate at all with anybody, let it be with those saints who are friends of all. Verse 46. Lord, you are the ruler of all beings in creation. Pray, make us sinless and advise us that course by following which, with faith, man acquires immunity from injunctions and interdictions.
Yeah. See, these are the these are the things which we have to pray. Man acquires immunity from injunctions and interdictions. Yeah. Make us sinless and advise advises that course by which. following which, with faith, man acquires immunity from injunctions and interdictions. Yeah. Now the Lord says,
Yes, Guruji.
what you gently do.
Verse 47. The glorious Lord said, O chief of demons, in the first Manvantara, presided over by Swayambhuva Manu, Marichi had 6 sons through his wife Urna. They were all gods. They laughed when they saw Brahma intent upon sexual intercourse with his own daughter. 48. On account of this misdemeanor on their part, they were cursed by Brahma and had to take birth in the Asura race as the sons of Hiranyakashipu. Thence they were transferred to Devaki's womb by Yogamaya and were murdered by Kamsa as they were born. O chief of the Daityas, Mother Devaki grieves for those children of her own who are now with you. Verse 50. For removing the sorrow of our mother, we propose to take them from here. They will thereby get completely freed from their curse once and for all, and will happily return to their celestial abode. Verse 51. Their names are Smara, Udgita, Parishvanga, Patanga, Kshudrabhrit, and Grini. By my grace, all the 6 of them will regain their original happy state. 52. Parikshit, having thus explained their mission to Bali, the 2 brothers took the children with them and, duly worshipped by Bali, returned to Dwaraka and handed over the children to Mother Devaki. 53. At the sight of those children, milk began to flow from the breasts of Devaki, though through excess of maternal love. Placing them on her lap, she embraced them and repeatedly smelt their crowns. Verse 54. Overwhelmed with emotion at the touch of her children, she suckled them with great delight, deluded as she was by the Lord's Yoga Maya, which takes the form of affection, in order to keep the cycle of creation going on. 55. The milk in Devaki's breasts was veritable nectar, for it was the remnant of what had been tasted by Sri Krishna. Having suckled such milk and blessed with the touch of the Supreme Lord, they attained knowledge of the Self. Verse 56. They now bowed to Sri Krishna, the protector of cows, Mother Devaki, their father Vasudeva and Balarama, and ascended the abode of the celestials in the presence of all. Verse 57. Mother Devaki was astounded to see her deceased children return to earth and then depart again, and concluded that it was nothing but a sport of Sri Krishna, O protector of men. Verse 58. Sri Krishna, O sign of Bharata, is the same as the Supreme Spirit. His powers are unlimited. Endless are his exploits, which are so wonderful as this. Verse, should I
Yeah.
complete the last part? Uh, Verse 59, Suta resumed, O sages, the fame and glory of Sri Krishna are immortal. The stories of his sports rid the world of all sins and bring delight to the ears of devotees and saints. They have been narrated by the revered Sri Shuka, son of Vyasa himself. He who constantly hears them or repeats them to others gets his mind fixed in the Almighty Lord and attains his abode of eternal bliss. Thus ends the 85th discourse entitled Sri Krishna brings back his deceased elder brothers from the abode of Bali. In the latter half of Book 10 of the great and glorious Bhagavata Purana, otherwise known as the Paramahamsa Samhita.
Yeah.
Guruji, fine.
Yeah. Done, no?
Yes.
Okay. It's a great chapter, these chapters,
Yes.
for repetition and other things. Reading for all at home, reading, or even in the satsang also for reading.
Yes.
Yeah, over to you, Janki.
Yes. Koti Koti pranams to you, Param Pujya Guruji, Devi and Mahatmas. Um, as Guruji has told us, these are chapters for us to read again and again and assimilate the learnings of these very powerful verses. And some of them Param Pujya Guruji has specially referred to, so we should read those again and again. Let's do that. And let's come back for more Sudhasagar with Param Pujya Guruji. We'll go to Kritagnyata Prarthana.
प्रार्थना करते हैं देश और धर्म के लिए। प्रार्थना करते हैं भारत की स्त्रियों के लिए और उनके विकास के लिए। प्रार्थना करते हैं हमारे अन्नदाता किसानों के लिए तथा उन सभी के लिए जिनके श्रम से हमारे पात्र में प्रसाद आता है। ये प्रसाद जो हमें 3 से 5 बार मिलता है, भूख हो न हो तो भी मिल जाता है। इससे हमारा बौद्धिक, शारीरिक और मानसिक पोषण हो। हम निरहंकारी बने, दूसरों के बारे में सोचें और हमारे में क्षमा भाव जगे। इसी के साथ प्रार्थना करते हैं भारत के तथा विश्व भर में कई ऐसे लोगों के लिए जिनको शायद 2 वक्त का प्रसाद मिले ना मिले पता नहीं होता। उनकी सारी आवश्यकताओं की पूर्ति हो, उनका विकास हो और उनके विकास से देश और विश्व का विकास हो। प्रार्थना करते हैं भारत के 17 से 21 वर्ष की आयु के सभी युवक और युवतियों के लिए नीति द्वारा ये अनिवार्य किया जाए कि उनको सेना में प्रशिक्षण मिले, जिससे कि वो अच्छे नागरिक बने। प्रार्थना करते हैं भारत के सेना बल के लिए सीमाएं बंद हो, घुसपैठ न हो, आतंकवाद न हो और हमारे जवानों के प्राण व्यर्थ में न जाएं। उनका आर्थिक और पारिवारिक जीवन हर्ष, उल्लास और विकास से भरपूर रहे। प्रार्थना करते हैं हमारे पुलिस बल के लिए नीति द्वारा उनके वेतन 10 गुना बढ़ाए जाए, उनकी जैविक अवस्था में सुधार लाया जाए, उनकी क्षमताओं में बढ़ोतरी लाई जाए और वो सदैव न्याय और धर्म का संस्थापन करते रहें। प्रार्थना करते हैं हमारे परम पूज्य गुरुजी द्वारा संकल्पित सारे कार्यों के लिए। ये सारे ही संकल्प जैसे निवृत्ति, गुरुकुल, गीता वितरण इत्यादि का उद्देश्य है भारत के कई करोड़ों अच्छे गरीबों को लाभ पहुंचाना। ये सारे ही संकल्प बड़े से बड़े पैमाने पर साकार हों और इसका लाभ देश के कोने कोने तक पहुंचे। प्रार्थना करते हैं कि इस देश के शासक इस देश को उसकी खोई हुई संस्कृति की ओर ले जा सके। प्रार्थना करते हैं कि इस देश के हर जिले में कम से कम 2001 एकड़ के फैलाव वाले महाजलाशय बनाए जाए, जिससे कि वहां भरपूर जल रहे। प्रार्थना करते हैं कि इस देश के हर जिले में कम से कम 200 सौर शक्ति से संचालित ट्रामें चलाई जाए। इनके माध्यम से हर एक गांव को जिला मुख्यालय से जोड़ा जाए, जिससे कि यातायात में सुविधा हो, पर्यावरण भी स्वच्छ रहे और व्यय भी कम हो। प्रार्थना करते हैं कि ईश्वर हमारे परम पूज्य गुरुजी को 120 वर्ष का स्वास्थ्य से परिपूर्ण आयुष दें और गुरुजी सदैव हमारा मार्गदर्शन करते रहें। प्रार्थना करते हैं कि ईश्वर सभी सत्संगियों को, सभी विभूतियों को और उनके परिवारजनों को स्वास्थ्य से परिपूर्ण लंबी आयुष दें और सभी गुरुजी द्वारा दिखाए गए पथ पर चलें। सारा श्रेय गुरुजी को जाता है। आज का जो भी पुण्य है उनके श्री चरणों में समर्पित करते हुए देश और धर्म के लिए प्रार्थना करते हैं। तथास्तु, तथास्तु, तथास्तु।
प्रार्थना करते हैं देश के प्रत्येक विद्यालयों एवं संस्थानों में दिन में 3 बार संपूर्ण वंदे मातरम गाया जाए, जिससे कि नागरिकों में देशभक्ति की भावना जागृत हो। तथास्तु। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। वंदे मातरम। भारत माता की जय। जय हिंद। जय श्री कृष्णा।